This Works Today.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Yes, the weirdest thing did happen this morning as I got today's show ready to go. I did everything I normally do, and then it just kind of said, yeah, show is over. Great show. Do you want to upload the video? Like it normally does at the end of every video, but I just started the show. It wasn't over. Anyways, it keeps you on your toes, and as the technical producer, as the producer and host of the show, writer, everything. You got to think on the fly. And we were live on the radio at the same time the devices weren't working or acting up or whatever. So we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, CKLU.ca, Facebook live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube live at youtube.com/Sudbury News. Support CKLU by going to their website. And there's many ways you can. You can buy some merch there. You can also just make a donation if you have the means. Also, if you want to contribute to the show and the expenses that we have here, we do have about $300 worth of expenses each and every month. All you have to do is send an e-transfer to sudburynews@gmail.com. Thank you very much for all those who already have. We really appreciate you. And if you can't, that's fine. There's no pressure whatsoever. It's not like I'm thinking, oh, so-and-so donated and someone else didn't. You don't have to worry about that at all. It really does help, though. This will be the first year that I'm using the expenses, and you have to, in order to claim them, you have to claim them as a business. So if I'm a business, I need to also have some money coming in, or else they'll go, well, what kind of business is this if there's no money coming in? And so that's one way. And then I also have to find a way to get some like-minded businesses in town who feel that having a little bit of a shout out on the show or sponsoring a segment or something might be mutually beneficial to them as well. So anyways, that's that. So we got a great show planned for you this morning. Nick Gervais might be popping in. We don't know. She was going to be coming on today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. So it might just be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. So no worries. No reason to fret. We have a great show planned for you either way. And it is your conversation on your station. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow all of our social medias, as well as comment. So that way I can get your comments read for those listening on the radio or streaming in audio. And for those watching, I'll do my best to get your comments up on the screen. Make sure to be part of the conversation. This show is for you. I'm just the facilitator. So with that, we have some weather, a little bit of sports. We'll be back with more, including your comments after weather and sports. So stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And Sudbury Weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. For all things weather, visit SudburyWeather.ca or just go to your app. Anyways, you know how to get weather. Minus 18 currently, a little bit nippy out there, but with the wind chill, it's even more nippy. It's minus 25. One of the coldest days of the year today. So far, there is a winter warning in effect, winter storm warning in effect for Greater Sudbury. Another winter storm expected tonight into Saturday, heavy snow. Total snowfall accumulations, just like the last one, 15 to 30 centimeters possible. The peak snowfall rates will be 3 to 5 centimeters per hour. Strong wind gusts resulting in significantly reduced visibility in blowing snow. That will happen again this evening into Saturday afternoon. Snow is forecast to begin in the evening, quickly becoming heavy at times before transforming into periods of light snow. Saturday morning, strong easterly winds gusting up to 70 kilometers per hour will combine with this heavy snow to cause significantly reduced visibility at times. In the wake of this system, much colder Arctic air will become established across the region. A multi-day lake effect snow event. A multi-day lake effect snow event. I love these terms. Is expected for locations east of the Great Lakes, bringing additional snowfall accumulations to some communities. And surfaces such as highways, roads, walkways, and parking lots may become difficult to navigate due to accumulating snow. Visibility will be suddenly reduced to near zero at times in heavy snow and blowing snow. Consider postponing non-essential travel, which I will be traveling today. It seems like every time I'm traveling, there's some kind of weather event to stick with the theme of, these new ways of speaking. Everything's an event. It used to just be called a storm, or there's lots of snow, but it's some kind of event now. So that's it. That's your winter warning. As we can see, today is a mix of sun and cloud. We already talked about that. The high will be minus 11. It'll be minus 26 this morning and minus 20 this afternoon with the wind chill. So it's going to stay cold all day long. Tonight, cloudy, snow at times beginning late this evening, blowing snow 10 to 15 centimeters overnight, winds gusting to 50 kilometers an hour. And temperature rising to minus 9 by morning. The wind chill will be minus 22. So after today, it seems to be getting a little more mild, not as cold. Snow at times on Saturday, heavy and blowing snow, 5 to 10 centimeters. And high of minus 8, minus 17 in the morning with the wind chill, and minus 23 in the afternoon. Don't know how that's working. Is it getting back and forth, milder and colder? But anyways, minus 8 is your high tomorrow. And Sunday, chance of flurries, minus 14 is your high. 40% chance of flurries, 30% chance of flurries on Monday, high of 11. Periods of snow on Tuesday, high of minus 11. And minus 11 all through from Monday to Thursday. Periods of snow, so that's snow. We just don't know how much snow for each day of the week. I'm not sure what happened with the satellite here. It looks like 1:30 a.m. That's what it looks like. For those of you on the radio, there's just lots of clouds, very little clearing, lots of snow predicted to come to Sudbury, including tonight's winter storm watch. Lots of it. Stay safe if you're out there traveling. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with sports and some news headlines, local news headlines, your comments, and much more. Stay tuned. And the Sudbury Five are in action tonight at the Sudbury Arena. Kind of transforms into a basketball court instead of, the regular ice surface that we have there. It's incredible. If you haven't been to a Five game before, even if you don't really care for basketball all that much, there's a great vibe watching the Five in the Sudbury Arena. So the Five return to the Underground to host the doubleheader weekend with the London Lightning on Friday and the Pharaohs on Saturday. Both games are set for a 7 p.m. tip-off. Friday's game sponsored by Pure Country, so it's country night if you like to dress up like your favorite country music star, or just to, like you're going to the rodeo. You love to do that. That's the night to go. Saturday's game is sponsored by Northern Hockey Academy. There's prizes for both nights from both of the sponsors, and it's the hottest party in town. So single game tickets are on sale now in person and at the Sudbury Arena box office. Get your tickets now. $10 for children, which is really great. The Sudbury Wolves are on the road this weekend. You can catch the games right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. I might just have to refresh the screen here. Looks like they're against Windsor, one of these games. So just let me refresh. Sarnia tonight and Windsor tomorrow. Sarnia tonight, Windsor tomorrow, before they head to Barrie, I believe, on Wednesday. So 3 games on the road before they come back on the 19th here in Sudbury. So facing Sarnia tonight, Windsor tomorrow night, Barrie on Wednesday. Games pretty much around 7:05, all of them, and catch them right here on CKLU 96.7. We got the play-by-play, CKLU.ca. If you don't want to listen on your radio, you can just listen on your computer. And Sudbury Wolves making a run for it this year, so it's going to be really exciting. So make sure to check them. That's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.ca. Be back with more of your comments, news headlines, local, and a little deep dive into how some of our health officials in this country feel about those who suffer or have addictions, and they want to give out, in BC anyways, they're the leaders in this, they want to start giving out free fentanyl for adults and youth. Yeah, how about that? So we'll just talk about that. Talk about it a little bit in terms of Friday's climate-related discussion, as we want to get to some of that. So a little bit about the climate, and, like it or leave it, there's always climate, right? But it's what people interpret the climate to be and what they want to do with it, and what they want you to do to it. So we'll talk about that and much, much more right after this. Stay tuned. Okay, and we have many people joining us already on the show today. Welcome to all of our new subscribers or new followers on Facebook and YouTube. We really appreciate you. As the story about the photo radar cameras just went viral, and about 1,000 shares. We went to about 150,000 people. There's, something like 400 and some comments, almost 300 likes or angries or whatever those emojis are. So it's one of our most viral posts that we've had so far on our Facebook page. If you haven't been there to see it, you just check it out. It talks about how the city deemed all the different areas of the city by importance. So they rated each area, and so the top ones are the ones that are going to get them first. I've reached out to Meg Parent, and he said, basically, when you want me, I'll be on. So I was basically going to give him anywhere between Monday and Wednesday next week. If you're listening, Mike, Monday to Wednesday, I'll also email you to come on the show. And Nick also wanted to be on the show to ask a few questions as well. So she will be on more than likely Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week. So look forward to that. And good morning, Denise. Blessings this morning from Espanola. Denise, thanks for joining us. Monique, good morning. Sudbury with a smiley emoji. Marianne, good morning, everyone from Barrie. And liked and shared, so much appreciated there as well. Mona, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Leandre, the Communist Party, Liberals, and NDP have Canadians hostages, and we do not have a say on our future. Okay, thank you for that. Good morning at the same time, and thanks for the videos you'd send me. I want to get to one of them today for our climate segment, if we can. Hopefully we have enough time. It is cold as well, yes, outside everywhere, including Barrie. Barrie would stop. Yeah. So you got a lot of snow and then rain and now cold. So I'm sure you got a mixed bag down there in Barrie. So make sure to stay safe. Belinda, it was glitching at the beginning. Not sure it registered. Good morning. When you survive the dark, you become the light. Shine brightly so that others may find you. If it already registered, sorry for posting twice. Oh, sorry. Yeah, not sure why it was glitching, and it doesn't look like it came through twice, so I'm glad that you put it on again, because we wouldn't have had it. Marianne, also, as long as you drive according to conditions, you should be okay, so safe travels. That is true. Just have to go slow. Don't be in a hurry. And Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that it's working. We did have glitches this morning coming on. I got the show ready as usual, and I just hit, okay, let's go live. And then it hit, hey, great show. The show's over. It lasted 14 seconds. And I'm like, huh? What happened there? I had to reboot everything live while we were on the radio. So sorry to the radio listeners for sure. Anyways, so Brian, good morning, Sudbury campers. Happy Friday, everyone. And Marianne also, representatives of BC are not the sharpest tools in the shed. We're talking about BC government going ahead and basically getting free fentanyl for all, and including youth. So that's hopefully we'll have a little bit of a deep dive into that a little bit later. And Miles says, fortunately or unfortunately, as you look at it, a previous election has given their policies to us. So overall, we elected our government. Please vote in the next election, 2025. 100%. It's as long as your vote counts. And there ain't no funny business with electronic voting, which we know would never happen, right? So as long as it's a real vote, I'm in favor of going back to paper ballots myself. And people say, why do you do that? Because it's going back and we're not making progression. But no, that's not true at all. It's actually, it just opens up more risk for foul play. If you just do something that you know there's no risk of foul play, and voting should be one of those things, right? Because are we really a democracy? If we really were, we'd really make sure we made sure that there's no funny business going on with voting. I remember the first year that the city adopted electronic voting, and it went down for, I don't know, a day, a two. So what's happening while it's down? You know what I mean? Who knows? And that's all that you need is doubt in people's minds that their vote isn't coming through. And then it kiboshes the whole idea of fair elections, and everybody has confidence in it. And if everyone loses confidence in their elections, they lose confidence in a lot of things. So yeah, I'm a proponent to making sure going back to voting, as we all know that it counts, and no opportunities or even doubt that something could happen. If there's even a doubt, and you ask a question, well, what could happen? And everyone says, don't worry, just trust it. Just trust it's fine. No, that's not a good answer to me anyways, and it shouldn't be to you if you actually want to have confidence in your system. People before prosperity, for sure. There is no way, this is Belinda, there is no way that Trudeau won the election. He wasn't elected, he was selected. Okay, see? So there, you don't have much confidence in that system, right? I know in the States there is much going on and much evidence in terms of some funny business going on. These things are hooked up to the internet, for crying out loud. And what is the oversight? Like, what are the checks and balances? And what software isn't made in China these days, for crying out loud? You know what I mean? Like. So they're definitely not one who are going to stand up for fair voting. Yeah, paper voting 100% for sure, Mona. I agree with that. Who or what is electronic in federal elections? We haven't had it yet. Okay. All right. Well, maybe do a little bit of research into that. Another thing is the mail-in voting. That's got to go. Like there should just be very, 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 very limited mail-in voting. That's where a lot of corruption can take place as well. There's so much evidence pointing to that, where people that voted 3 or 4 times, that can't happen, right? But with paper ballots, it can. There's just a lot of room. Wherever there's any room for something nefarious happening, you get rid of that. Done. Period. Right? And where were these electronic voting machines that were used in the U.S. developed and made, right? The Dominion voting machines? Tirana. That's right. Right here in Canada. And yeah. Now, there was a lawsuit. You got to say it. Yeah, sure. The judge sided on the side of the voting machine, the voting machines. And we all know judges, they always make the right decisions, right? And none of them can be ever paid off. especially at that level, right? So here we go. Let's get right into it. The Sudbury Star has a newsletter that they send out each and every day, each and every morning, and it looks like Nick slept in. Not a problem. So I kind of figured that, but thanks for that, Nick. Much appreciated. Advances in DNA solve a West Nipissing case. So this is from the Sudbury Star. A man whose body was found West Nipissing in 2010 has now been identified as the result of advanced DNA testing on September the 2nd, 2010. Members of the former West Nipissing Police Service were called to an area on Lac Claire Road, north of Highway 17, where human remains had been found by a member of the public. The investigation was taken over by Ontario Provincial Police. When the West Nipissing Police Service amalgamated with the OPP, the post-mortem examination found no signs of foul play, but the man had no ID. He could not be identified. Missing persons reports and fingerprints records were checked across Canada and the United States, and details were also released to the media. Other public appeals included releasing facial reconstruction of the individual. But now we have to click to read more. Very good on the Sudbury Star for that, by the way, because they didn't give you the whole story right there in the email, because you're just like, who is this person? I want to know. So I got to click on the story. Okay, so in 2023, the OPP, in conjunction with the Officer of the Chief Coroner of Ontario Forensic Pathology Services and Toronto Police Services, with the support of the Provincial Crown Attorney, were able to utilize advanced DNA testing known as investigative genetic genealogy testing or forensic genealogy. Through whole genome sequencing, the samples matched one collected from the individual listed in a family DNA tree. These results were then confirmed by additional family DNA testing. The testing has confirmed that the identity of the body as a male who was born in 1964. Prior to his death, he had been living in the Windsor area. Investigators and victim services have spoken with the individual's family, and the matter did not involve foul play. And out of respect to the family's privacy, they're not releasing the man's name. Interesting. Well, my inquiring mind wants to know. So they went to the family, and they said, as far as we know, no foul play is involved. Can you imagine if a family member was one where foul play was involved and wanted to get rid of their family member? Oh yeah, no. Yeah, no foul play for sure. Yeah, no, let's not release his name to the public either. We just don't want that. Anyways, that's just the way my mind works. I possibly should have been a forensic investigator myself, because sometimes I feel at least that, that's where my mind could have been of greatest use. In this world, a lot of people just get upset when you start asking questions about things. Take it from the reporter for Rebel News who just got arrested just for asking Krista Freeland a question of why they don't include the group that shot down the plane to the memorial service they were at as terrorists, because they, that's what they more than likely are. And the RCMP officer gets in his way, so he bumps into him, and then he gets arrested for assaulting a police officer. So again, right? So asking questions sometimes in the media could get you in hot water. But if you're working for the police and you're asking questions of how somebody was murdered or just trying to find out how somebody died, you're probably not going to get arrested, at least, right? So, all right, it looks like we're going to turn now to, well, the Sudbury Star just has a photo of the day. I just thought it's interesting, the photo of the day from the Sudbury Star. It's a homeless person pushes a shopping cart downtown in the middle of Minto Street on Thursday, January the 11th. So that's yesterday. That photo kind of tells us a lot, right? Now, it's only a lone homeless person. I mean, there's also pictures that could show groups, because when I'm downtown, I see a lot of groups of people who are in the same kind of situation, all gathered together. And that brings us to the stories to start your day on Sudbury and their first story is desperate, man killed in encampment fire used candle for warmth. A man who died in a fire at a homeless encampment December the 3rd was warming himself with an open flame inside a tent, the Greater Sudbury Fire Services told Sudbury.com. They said it's a sad story related to an individual who's attempting to keep warm. And that was from Deputy Chief Jesse O'Shell. He also went on to say, I do know that we had responded to that area in the past and spoken to that particular individual, not formally or officially, but certainly they were known to many in the area and had chosen to be there. So the death occurred just before 12 p.m. Greater Sudbury Police Services spokesperson Caitlin Dunn said officers were dispatched to a wooded area Northfield Crescent, near Northfield Crescent in relation to a sudden death. Greater Sudbury Fire Services responded to a fire in the bush at what was described as an encampment. Upon extinguishing the fire, firefighters located a deceased person. She said no foul play is expected, and the indecent did or does not appear, the incident did or does not appear to be suspicious in nature. Now again, right, so I love the crime stories. I love Joe Kenda on Investigation Discovery. I love the crime stories and stuff, and I really appreciate the type of mindset that police officers have when they investigate these types of things. But it just seems like to me, and I know this isn't the case with this particular story, but just because we were talking about it earlier, they'll usually jump the gun and say, yeah, it doesn't look like anything. It doesn't look like anything suspicious. Well, really, like, before you do your investigation, you really should. You can let the public know, though, as a communications person, there's no danger to the people of the city, but at the same time, we're investigating. We're not sure. This doesn't look like any foul play, but I guess that's what they say. No foul play is suspected. So same thing. So I'm just ranting about nothing possibly. So here you go, Marianne. Okay, so appreciate your comments here, Belinda. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Miles says we should ask Mike Perrant about the city shelters. How many city shelters have vacancies? And you heard that there's still room in these shelters for some homeless. They don't want to adhere to the rules of staying in them. I've heard the same thing as well. So thanks for that. And yes, we will ask Mike that. And just make sure to be on the show that day. Maybe what we could do too is if you want a question for Mike, let's say, a question for Mike Perrant, who will be on the show Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday next week. We're not sure. I'll reach out to him. But either way, if you want to email your question, that way I have it in a hard copy. Just say question for Mike in the subject. He is the Ward 5 counselor for the city of Greater Sudbury. And just say question for Mike, and I'll go through them. And no, I'm not going to, you know me, I'm not going to sit there and filter them and not ask him a hard question. I might take some of the questions and maybe if they're similar, and that way, because we only have the hour with them, is to put it into maybe one main question or something, you know what I'm saying? But that's the only thing I'll do with the questions. I'm not going to be trying to spin them or manipulate them in any way. I'll get him to answer the questions that you have. So email me at sudburynews@gmail.com. Much appreciated with that. So moving on here. National news, Ed Broadbent, the former leader of the NDP, has passed away sadly. And back to Sudbury again, so flip-flopping around. Pedestrian struck and killed in parking lot on Martindale Road. A 57-year-old pedestrian has died after being struck by a vehicle in a parking lot of a business on Martindale Road. This was 2 days ago. Greater Sudbury Police said officers were dispatched to the scene just after 1 p.m. January 10th in relation to a motor vehicle collision involving a pedestrian. So they said the driver of the vehicle involved in the collision remained on the scene And Greater Sudbury Fire Services and Greater Sudbury Paramedic Services attempted life-saving measures on the 57-year-old woman who had been struck, but to no avail. The pedestrian was transported to hospital by paramedics. Unfortunately, she was pronounced deceased by medical professionals, the Greater Sudbury Police Services said. So very sad news there. Extremely sad. Condolences to the individual's family and friends. It's just terrible. Hopefully we'll find out more about that later and who the individual was in a follow-up story. So this coming through Sudbury.com as well. Man facing 3 murder charges will wait longer to see trial. A man charged in relation to 3 Sudbury murders who also escaped from the Sudbury jail. Remember this guy? Earlier this year was in court today. But rather than a chance to set a date for a trial, the matter was postponed again. An articling student who appeared on behalf of Joel Roy's defense attorney, Toronto lawyer Alison Craig, told Justice Pierre Bradley the attorney needed more time and asked for an adjournment. The Crown, Jose Rodriguez, noted how long the case had been waiting to go to trial. Bradley agreed to it and adjourned the case until February the 1st. Roy did not appear in court but is still in custody, is facing charges related to several murders. On January 11th, the intention was to set a trial date for the charges related to the death of 31-year-old Ahmad Ali. Greater Sudbury Police put out a press release in January 2023 saying they were concerned for the well-being of Ali, who had been seen in Sudbury area in October to November of 2022. But this particular individual, unfortunately, his life was taken by this individual, Joel Roy. More on that coming, obviously, because if the trial's going to go ahead February the 1st, we'll finally get some answers and maybe some justice out of that. They have a soapbox segment here on their Morning to Start Your Day. Bill C-21 will hardly bother gun-toting criminals, right? So C-21, it's the new legislation that's come out for Canada's version of gun control to make it harder, not make it harder, but just make certain guns banned in Canada. And a lot of proponents for guns in Canada and hunters would say it's basically a gun grab and there's no real need for it. It does nothing to keep our streets safer because law-abiding gun owners aren't the ones committing crimes. But let's just check in with what this individual is talking about. The year 2023 proved to be a contentious year for gun control in Canada after much acrimony in both the House of Commons and the Senate. Bill C-21 was finally passed, unamended, and received royal assent shortly before Christmas. Whether or not this is to be considered a good thing depends on where one sits in the Canadian gun control debate. C-21 ushered in a huge sweeping net of laws and regulations. For the proponents of gun control in Canada, Polysoyvant doctors for protection against guns and the collection for gun control. C-21 is largely satisfactory, as well it should be, as in its essence, it is a shopping list of the sundry gun control demands of the Trudeau government. Nevertheless, they have not been shy in stating that it does not mark the end of their demands. So we're still coming after more guns, apparently. And on the other side of the issue, groups such as the Canadian Coalition for Firearm Rights, the National Firearms Association, and various provincial hunting sportsmen's organizations have been steadfast in their opposition to C-21. They claim it will do very little in terms of combating crime committed with firearms, while further hobbling the firearms/hunting industry in Canada and burdening legal gun owners with yet more pointless layers of red tape and bureaucracy. Well, I think that was well enough said. I don't know what the heck that word was I tried to read. I'll have to look that up right after the show. I probably could do that in real time, but I don't want to. So anybody who has questions for Mike, unfortunately, you'll just have to email me, because this will be lost. Like, once this show's done and we move on Monday, I won't be able to go back to the video here to get people's questions. So kindly just send your questions to sudburynews@gmail.com, and I'll just put them all together, kind of thing. And then when Mike is on, we'll have a chance to that was in the Weston Bakery parking lot. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Thank you very much. Oh, Mike is just joining and saw the question on shelters, and he inquired about that yesterday, and we have an increased capacity to accommodate the higher volume of persons expected given the cold weather that we are experiencing. Okay, thanks for that, Mike, and thanks for jumping on, and thanks for answering that question in real time. Now, you're just probably opening a whole Pandora's box now. People are like, well, we're not going to wait for Mike to come on the show. We're just going to ask him all kinds of questions now. So let's just see here. So Denise has a few questions for you, but again, right, I'm just trying to get everyone to email me the questions for you, and whatever day you want. Since you're on, Mike, I was going to email you, but Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, it's up to you. Either day works for us. So you just let us know what's the best for you, and you can hop on then. So you don't believe that persons are being asked about their vaccination status? That is a question that came from Denise, I believe. Will the iTunes know how to plow the snow? They failed taxpayers last OW fall. Do you agree? Will the iTunes know how to plow this snow? ? They failed taxpayers last OW fall. Do you agree? Now, I'm not even sure if I'm just not getting some of the I don't understand that question myself, but sorry about that. I'm just trying to see here. We're just talking about Bill C-21 and the person writing into Sudbury.com about that, and about the government banning many, many, many guns. Will it do anything to make our streets safer if you take guns away from law-abiding gun owners and hunters? Not necessarily. That's an old argument, and there's just people who just hate guns. They just hate it. They hate the idea of it. They think nobody should have one. What's the reason? Hunting is stupid. You just need to go to the grocery store, for crying out loud. All these things, right? So they come from that point of view, and there's always going to be that. People just do not like guns. And that's the end of the story on that one. So, morning, Vin. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate everyone being on. Keep your comments coming. I'm doing my best to get them on the screen. So Tuesday will work for Mike. Much appreciated, Mike. That works for us as well. And I will send you the link. So that's awesome. So Mike Perrant will be on the show. So make sure to send your questions to sudburynews@gmail.com, and we'll do the best to get as many of them answered in the time that we have them. So if you're able to be on shortly at around 7:45, so that gives us about 40 minutes or so of time to just have, back and forth question and answer with yourself, Mike. So thank you for that. Much appreciated. Sudbury.news is your local news aggregator where you can get all Sudbury news aggregated into one convenient location. So make sure to visit it there now that Facebook is not the place where you get any news, or Instagram. We now have it, at least you have to go to it though. It is what it is. You just punch it in on your phone, and it's very mobile friendly. CTV Northern Ontario News. Doesn't look like that's a local story here. Just going through some of the stories. Usually CBC's come up right away. Okay. Corin Raymond to play Sudbury House concert on Saturday. He'll present his spoken word show, Bookmarks, followed by a set of original music that can be found on Sudbury.com. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre stops in town on Saturday night. So the federal leader will be at the Holiday Inn on January the 13th, which is tomorrow, part of his Axe the Tax tour. So if you want to get out and see Pierre Poilievre, he will be at the Holiday Inn tomorrow night. So I think the last time he was in town, you kind of had to register for that. I'm not sure, but visit Sudbury.com for more on that. Just click on the story. Community living needs a budget boost. Officials at Community Living Greater Sudbury say they are in desperate need of a budget boost as operating costs soar. And that's the truth for any nonprofit or not-for-profit organization these days, as all of us are feeling the pinch, correct? Okay, so it looks like we pretty much covered quite a few of the stories already from the Sudbury Star and Sudbury.com, the Sudbury Star newsletter, Sudbury.com, stories to start your day. Bit of a deep dive today into what the Epoch Times was reporting on. Fentanyl use in BC. Let's see if I got it here. So BC government plans to offer safe fentanyl for minors and adults. And I know this, you say, well, how does this relate to Sudbury? I know we just met a lot of the people that are involved with addictions and people experiencing homelessness in Isilda, a huge meeting, and they had a lot of speakers and things there. Now, my hope is that we don't take the same road with the way that we handle this in Greater Sudbury as they do in BC, but this is what's going on in BC right now. British Columbia is working on a plan to offer a safe supply of fentanyl to adults and minors. Okay? Last summer, a joint report, fentanyl tablet prescribed safer fentanyl tablet, prescribed safer supply protocols, was developed in collaboration with the provincial government of British Columbia Center on Substance Abuse and a nonprofit called PHS Community Services Society. The document outlines a strategy on how the government can provide a safe supply of fentanyl to adults and minors under BC's Access Prescribed Safer Supply policy. Now, there's a link to that if you do subscribe to the Epoch Times. While the report notes that there is no evidence to support the proposal, it said the recommendation is based on clinical practice from organizations including PHS Community Services Society, AVI Health and Community Services, Victoria Safer Initiative, and Insight Supervised Consumption Sites. So the report notes there's no evidence to support the proposal, but all the organizations that make money from this recommend it. I wonder why, right? So this is what we have to be aware of in our own community. You have a not-for-profit. You need to function, and your not-for-profit is designed to help people consume drugs safely. So obviously you want to keep your organization going. So you're going to recommend that we give it to people because then you have a job. I know it's not oversimplifying it. It really does come down to that. We have to be aware that who are we trying to help here? The people or the organization's jobs that have something to gain by getting money for this, right? Okay, so there's no evidence that supports that this is the right thing to do, but all of these organizations recommend it. This document is informed by current clinical practice and emerging evidence to provide considerations and guidance for the off-label use of fentanyl tablets to reduce unregulated fentanyl use and associated harms, the report said. For those under the age of 19, the report recommends 2 prescriber approval system, wherein one individual conducts the patient intake interview and another reviews the client's chart before approval. The report does not mention parental consent or a minimum age requirement. So there's no parental consent that they're recommending to somebody, and there's no age requirement. So far as anyone can see, it can be given to minors as well. What do you think about that? So the Conservatives, rightfully so, should be criticizing this plan. The Federal Conservatives and Conservative Party of BC leader John Rustand spoke out against this plan this week after media outlets reported on it. In a joint statement, Conservative Shadow Minister for Health, Stephen Ellis, Shadow Minister for Addictions, Layla Goodbridge, and Shadow Minister for Mental Health, Todd Doherty, said the NDP's drug policy is an abject failure. The Trudeau NDP approach to drug policy is an open display in our streets and is an abject failure. Nowhere is it more obvious than in Vancouver, where Trudeau and the NDP friends have allowed drug decriminalization to destroy thousands of lives since 2017, the minister said. Despite a 300% increase in drug overdose deaths in the province, the BC NDP government has contracted the British Columbia Centre on Substance Use, the BCCSU, to enable clinicians to prescribe dangerous fentanyl to minors under the guise of safe supply. As if that weren't disturbing enough, no informed consent is required for parents before children are supplied with these drugs. So you see how this ideology that parents are bad, kids could have their own way no matter what ideology is in this. Like, it's woven in with all the policies that are being made, right? Like the whole idea, if you want to regender yourself or have a different pronoun at school or whatever, or you want to change your gender, parents don't need to be informed of this. You can be called anything you want at school, and parents should not have the right to know. This is coming from Justin Trudeau. You would think Jagmeet Singh as well, because they're kind of one person, right? He hasn't said anything against it. So this is the thinking of this particular government. So we really appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. Much appreciated. Getting them on the screen as we move along. So despite the 300% increase in drug overdose, so they've already been doing this since 2017, saying this is the way to go. It's really going to help. Just give people safe drugs, and this is going to help the situation. But they've had a 300% increase in drug overdoses since they've been doing this. So we do now have a track record to look back on, and the people that were saying this is only going to increase it hundreds of percent at the beginning are now right. They're right. So, and I'm hoping that we don't take the same path here in Sudbury, which I do know there's powers that be that are definitely pushing for this and wanting this here in the city as well. We need to protect those in our city from this type of ideology, hands down. Okay. So there, as if that weren't disturbing enough, no informed consent is required from parents before children are supplied with these drugs. Conservative Party of BC leader John Rustand calls the plan a nightmare fuel for parents. Mr. Rustand made the comments on social media in response to the media report on the proposed plan. This is a nightmare fuel for parents and families, he said. January 10th, in an X post, the Conservative Party leader of BC will end the failed socialist safe supply experiment in BC, quote unquote. The shadow minister noted that the Liberal government has not said whether or not it approves of BC's plans. All of us are deeply concerned about the path that Canada is traveling on, and we fear for the safety of our communities and governments as our governments are actively facilitating the consumption of dangerous drugs by vulnerable Canadians, including minors. So let's just look at that again. They're deeply concerned about the path Canada is traveling down, and they fear for the safety of our communities because governments are actively facilitating the consumption of dangerous drugs by vulnerable Canadians, including minors. There is no scientific evidence in support of this practice. Rather than abandoning the millions of Canadians suffering from addiction to a life of misery, we ought to treat them as fellow citizens worthy of dignity and respect, who deserve an opportunity to live fulfilling lives. Now, this is the thing. The proponents of safe injection will use the same thing, that people need dignity and respect, and that's why we need to give them safe drugs. It's like, wow, it can be very confusing if you don't really understand. If you've been an addict and come out of it, those are the people, they've come away from it. They come away from it for a reason, because I'm positive they didn't enjoy that type of lifestyle. And it's about rehabilitation, not harm reduction, right? Harm reduction, so you reduce the harm, meaning you prolong their death so you can make money off them for as long as they keep using the money. Yes, people are making money off it on your dime. Your tax dollars pay for the safe fentanyl for these people to partake in, to be given. Your tax dollars pay for it, and people get paid for it. They're making money off of it. And you have to really watch that when there's people that have agendas out there and they're making money off of it. Okay, so appreciate all of you guys being on. Didn't have time to get into the climate portion today. We'll probably just put that in Monday's show, because I don't think Nick had a chance to see it either. The video brought to us by Liette, so much appreciated. Continue to send me things that you think may be good on the show. We really appreciate that. You send them to either messenger us on Facebook Messenger or email us at sudburynews@gmail.com. And that's the way that we can get the stories on. And we really appreciate that. Appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Stay safe with the storm coming. And we'll see you same time, same place on Monday, God willing. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. And we really, hey, and Dave, I haven't seen you for a while. Stay safe, take care. Nice to see you again, David. I hope you had a good holiday, and it's great to see you back on, and hopefully we'll see you again on Monday. So have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, and ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.